except for everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
Welcome, everyone, to Tales from the Field. We are back and better than ever. My name is Bradley Ball, and it's so good to have you with us. On Tuesday, we had Amy Harold as our special guest, and we talked about Data Saturday Dallas. Andreas hosted, Josh won, and as if that wasn't enough, he got a shiny new hat. Woo! Looking forward to getting you that, buddy. All right, and if you haven't seen that, don't worry, stay right there. The show is posted to YouTube afterwards, and you can check it out at your convenience. Also, if you want to interact with the show, go over to our live stream right now on Twitter under Sequel Balls, that's me, or at Josh Ludeman, that's Ludeman over there. Also on Sequel Balls at LinkedIn, and also our YouTube channel for Tales from the Field. If you comment on it, one of my great co-hosts will take a look at your comments, and we may add them directly to our show. Also, you can comment, and we'll make it on the show. We can't wait to hear from you. Don't forget, this week, the Data Platform Summit is happening right now. It is streaming online. Tomorrow, Josh, myself, and one of our colleagues from Fast Track, Karthik Yella, we have a data Rukel, which is going to be us talking about how you migrate to Azure and some of the best practices around it. It's going to be a very wide-reaching session, but we're hoping to give you a good, broad foundation to understand how things work. This weekend is Data Saturday Dallas, and we hope you signed up, because when we talked to Amy, the registration closed on Tuesday, but this just in. Amy Harold has let us know that the registration has been extended to Friday at noon. So this is your truly last chance. Go and sign up now. As if it couldn't get any better than that, our friend of the show and colleague Dan Taylor will be presenting there this weekend with Buck Woody, Bob Ward, Chris Hyde, Matt Gordon, Anthony Nocentino, Melody Zarakis, Kevin Fizell, Ree Merritt, Ryan Adams, and so many other wonderful people from the community. And as if it couldn't get any better, our good friend Dan Taylor, aka DBA Bulldog, is here in the electrons himself to join us. Welcome, my old friend.
Thank you.
In the beard.
Gotta look good. I'm on camera. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
That's perfect. And of course, before we go any further, let me introduce my co-host. I am joined by Andreas Padilla, Josh Ludeman, and the Sultan of SWAT, the King of Crash, the Colossus of Clout, the great Bambino himself, Neeraj Jafari. Andreas, you're looking sexy as ever. What about that T-shirt, though? What's going on?
But I didn't die. I'm going through a hackathon right now. We're working on E4K with Kubernetes. Man, good stuff in there, but I haven't died. So I thought I'd break out the T-shirt. All's good. That's good.
I was going to say, I think that is a new level of nerdiness if somebody dies in a hackathon. I just want to say.
I know. don't
Josh, how
die
you
in my
doing?
Good one.
I'm doing good. Working on a hackathon myself, working on some things that we're doing internally to help kind of make the business flow a little bit better, but having a great time getting back and did some CI/CD with SQL DB, which I haven't done in ages. It was a lot of fun setting up a nice continuous integration pipeline for just rolling out the changes as they're checked in. A lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I love CI. Is that a snazzy blue hat that you have on your head?
Well, yes, it is. Thank you for noticing.
Woo, man.
I'm trying to keep it fresh, as they say.
And you're wearing one of the Tri-SQL T-shirts given out from Ree Merritt in the community. Ooh, yep. Oh my goodness. That's just an incredible. Oh, I love that shirt. Wow. I love it so much.
Love the Azure Data Community, man.
Absolutely. And Neeraj, how are you doing, my friend?
I think he's on mute.
Oh, I think
Ray
he's on
Bambino's
mute. We
on
can't
mute.
hear him.
Oh, sorry.
We need to start capturing these for there's $1 that goes to charity every time this happens, something like that, because it happens at least once a week to one of us. And I'll give the $1 for last week to charity. Neeraj, you're up for $1. We'll have to start.
I got to tell you, the worst part about Neeraj being on mute is we are all robbed of his silky, sultry voice.
I'm sorry, but yeah, definitely the charity looks good, Josh. $1 goes to charity.
Ooh,
And
you hear
then-
that, Josh? That is, you got some praise right there from Neeraj. Hello to our good friend Lonnie. How you doing, Lonnie? Great to see you.
Josh is the winner for next week, so I have
Josh
to
is
respect
out.
him.
I was going to say he's done. He's like mic drop. Neeraj praised me. I'm
And
dead.
then I need to be a winner next time, so I need to make sure that Josh picks me as a winner.
We're just
It doesn't hurt to suck up early.
This banner's just going to stay there forever and ever and ever and ever. That's all.
Or at least until someone takes it down.
Forever. Forever.
So let's talk to our good friend Dan Taylor, who is joining us. Dan, you've got a presentation coming up at Data Saturday Dallas, and then you've got that presentation again at Data Saturday Atlanta. Ooh,
Hopefully.
Crossing the country from Florida, buddy, to be able to deliver so much great content. What do you got going on?
Well, look, got to use them points somehow. Since on my new job, I don't travel anymore, so I got to use points somehow. So this is a great way to do it, to give back to the community that's given so much to me. Yeah, I'm excited. Dallas, Saturday, and Atlanta. Atlanta and Dallas used to compete back and forth. So that's why I'm so happy to be in this. That Dallas would have huge numbers. Atlanta would have huge numbers. So I'm going to be there speaking about the different ways that we can migrate our on-premises SQL Server databases to specifically Azure SQL DB and MI. Some of the tools that we can use, some of the bumps in the road that we're going to hit, some post-migration considerations as well when you're there. So come see me, and some of you may know, but you could come and wish me a happy birthday a day early, because I leave early Saturday afternoon so I can get home to celebrate my 53rd birthday. I've revolved around the earth 53 times, y'all. I'm old.
No
So
way.
come and pat me on the back that
over 107. I mean, with the beard,
come and pat me on the back. I didn't die yet. For the t-shirt.
Maybe I was going to say Andreas will send you a t-shirt.
I'd be
I'll
happy
send you a
to.
t-shirt.
I'm super excited, and I love the charity thing, y'all, because remember, Microsoft matches $1 for every dollar we put in.
Yep.
So let's gather that money up and then give that back to a good charity.
You know what? And the more we talk about it, I think we need to have as a group, the four of us talked about that a little bit more. I think there's, the muting, we'll keep track of the meeting follies that we have as part of doing a live show, because it's live and it's going to happen. And let's think about ways we can apply that. Maybe pick a charity for a season or something like that and build up the bank and then donate it. That'd be awesome.
That's right. I mean, technically, we're typing in a demo. Lonnie says happy birthday. Thank you, Lonnie. Lonnie's so
Dan,
great.
and back to his presentations, you got for all the audience out there. Dan does an excellent job of showcasing how to right size those migrations. You're coming from on-prem. What kind of size do I need in Azure? Dan will show you how to do that.
On
Easy as pie.
premises.
Huckleberry pie.
What?
On premises.
It's a piece of huckleberry pie. He's your huckleberry. All right. Well, gentlemen, today is our roundtable. Let's get to it. So we've selected content from the community that we want to review that we have found is incredibly helpful this week. Dan, as our guest, we've asked you to participate. You sent some items over, so we're gonna go with you first. What do you got first, buddy?
Okay. Azure Synapse endpoints. This reminds me of the Oprah Winfrey show, where you got a car, you got a car, you got a car. Everybody these days is protecting their environment. It's really important, because you don't want this mug on TV sharing that I let your data leak to the public. So this is a blog post that I share with my customers, when we're talking about private endpoints, look, private endpoints for everybody aren't for everybody. But this by Benjamin LaRue here, and I wish Benjamin had a Twitter tag because I'd love for folks to follow this individual. But this is a solid end-to-end of what you need to understand from a data perspective of private endpoints. It even gets into what private endpoints you need to deploy for your Azure Synapse Workspace. So if it's something that you're looking at doing or something you're interested in doing, hit that link up by Benjamin.
That is a fantastic one. I know I've used that in the past. Gentlemen, how about y'all?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Benjamin did a really, really great mitzvah for all of us with that one. So next up, Josh, I've got you.
Yeah, so the first one out of the gate, and we'll just cover a couple of mine this week. The first one out of the gate is John Morehouse. And with this specific link, John goes into how to handle orphaned users in Azure SQL DB failover groups, especially with any customers running, some serious workloads into Azure SQL DB where you're utilizing the failover groups. This is a must-have in your bookmarks to help you recover with those issues. So he goes through this, helps you out a lot with this. And John's just a really smart MVP, Azure Data Platform MVP for Microsoft. Great guy, even past the technology, and works for Denny Cherry and Associates. So definitely an article worth reading and a blog worth bookmarking.
Absolutely. Got to give some love to John. John is absolutely amazing. We see him all the time presenting at community groups at different conferences. Just hats off on that one. That is a fantastic one. So I guess I'm up next. So I'm actually going to highlight another one of our MVPs. This is Ahmed Oleo from Nigeria. He's a Nigerian MVP. And one of the things that he's got is he's got a YouTube playlist specifically on learning DAX. And often when we think about data, a very important thing is how do we report off that data? Because we have to get it to an end user so that way that data is useful. And so he has a whole entire playlist. I debated sharing videos, but look at this. There's multiple different videos, and some of these are super easy and consumable, just a couple minutes to be able to walk through this. Over 55 videos on different ways to be able to use DAX. So if you need to learn some DAX, or you're looking for a great resource, again, at the end of the show, we're going to share all of this on the YouTube channel. We'll get these links out on LinkedIn, and we'll make sure and call out people as well on LinkedIn and on Twitter. But just a absolutely fantastic resource from our wonderful community. Let's see. Next up, Andreas. I think it's I pick you, Pikachu.
So I got some good stuff out there for ML Ops. Kiera Anubaru from Japan, one of our colleagues, and Mir Alam, one of our, he's here in the United States, but they do excellent work when it comes in everything AI, ML, and Azure. They know their stuff. And one of the topics that they're going out and really clarifying and making it easier for people to, jump into is what that whole ML ops lifecycle looks like. What are you going to do when you train the model? How do you gather the data? How do you package a model? How do you validate that model? Make sure it's constantly being retrained. How do you deploy it to endpoints like Kubernetes, to Azure Container Instances? And they make it super easy to understand, and visualize and conceptualize that whole life cycle. What is MLOps? How do I start to operationalize that? So that link that Brad's putting right in there will, start those. They do an excellent job of breaking it down. They have a lot more resources. Mir has a lot more resources when it comes to ML Ops. Check them out on Twitter and LinkedIn, and they'll get you started.
It's just so broad. There is so much to look at, and they did such a great job taking this and adding detail. The diagrams for this are absolutely beautiful. And being able to, just communicate this topic. That is a great find. And my hat's off to both of them. I've known Mir for so long, such a great guy. But you're absolutely right. So incredibly smart. I love it that we could give him a shout out. Neeraj, you're up next, and it's not really a link necessarily that I've got. Do you want to talk about this?
Sure. Because this week we were talking about streaming data, I just wanted to share a group in Twitter called IoT Azure, which started by Has Altier, Microsoft MVP from Australia. This group basically shares weekly stuffs on IoTs and this different things that are coming up on IoTs. That is something that you should definitely follow up. There are a lot of blog items they share regularly, things what is coming new in IoT. And that's the reason I brought it up this, because we had streaming data this week as a part of it.
Excellent. Sorry, I was trying to find something quickly, but I did not do that. I apologize. But what I'll do is I'll make sure and find these links on Twitter, and I'll add the links for these two groups. But that's a fantastic resource, because one of the big things to keep in mind for everyone is our data community is so large and so vast. Someone out there is doing the exact same thing that you are doing, and they're sharing so many great things to be able to find. I love it. I love building off of the streaming and showing the community resources that we have available. Dan, I think you're up next.
I believe so. So private endpoints, it doesn't end there, right? And this is a follow-up to the other article that I shared. So I'm not a network expert. I pretend to be one on TV, but believe me, I can talk to you about your network. But if you need to talk to your networking team about what needs to be completed for our private endpoints to work not only in Azure in the cloud, but to be able to hook up our on-premises environment to our cloud, this is another great link here that I love using and sharing. It goes through many different solutions about how to tie the two pieces together so that we can securely go across that Azure backbone and not go across public IPs. It's another solid link that I like to share. And there's some great, if you scroll down, there's some great diagrams and pictorials about how to do this.
Oh, fantastic. I love the detail. I love it when people add this level of detail to make it ABC easy. I am not a smart man, but I can follow stuff like this. It's fantastic. It's right at my level. And I was going to say you pretend to be a network engineer. I pretend to be a doctor. So
yeah. And I agree. You're not so smart.
And Brad, I just wanted to add to that topic. Setting up the network is really hard. I mean, it's really, really hard. So Dan, I know I've worked with you on a couple of other things, and setting up the private links is definitely something that people get lost to it.
Yeah, and it takes time. It takes time. Make sure that you don't say, hey, we can get this in one day. It takes time to get these end-to-end pieces done. Make sure you stack your project in the front to have time to do this correctly.
Yeah, I had an old professor that always said the phrase "under promise, over deliver," and it's better to say this is going to be a multi-day effort than it is to say one day and then it's a multi-day effort. All right, so Josh, I believe I've got you up next.
Yeah, and so in the spirit, with featuring Mir earlier, in that same spirit, wanted to bring someone to the front who's one of our teammates in Fast Track, Jean Hayes. She actually wrote on our Fast Track for Azure blog a great article on building enterprise data warehouse with ADLS and Synapse serverless SQL pools. It's a great article. To Brad's point, lots of pictures, makes it easy to follow and understand what she's getting at. Good links, good how-tos. Definitely encourage you to check this article out. But Jean is a great engineer on our team and brings a lot to the table. So wanted to share this out for everybody to see.
And absolutely. I've watched that solution be implemented at a customer site from end to end. So not only is it just a blog post, it's been something that's been implemented as well at customer solutions.
Yeah, and that's the case with just about everything that you'll see featured on that Fast Track for Azure blog. Is it's actual scenarios that we've focused and harnessed by using them with customers and implemented for customers. That's where the content comes from.
Absolutely. I was going to say, this is a great place to be able to get that content from. Because again, we're putting stuff out there that we really not only believe in, but that we've implemented and that we're recommending that other people implement.
Yeah, not just demos built in a vacuum, actual real world scenarios.
Absolutely. So I'm up next, and I'm actually going to talk about my friend who's also an MVP, Elizabeth Noble. Josh, you were talking about some DevOps earlier. Man, I love DevOps. I love going into it. It can seem like a black box if you've not gone into it before. And Elizabeth has a fantastic YouTube video on creating a publishing profile in Visual Studio for your database project. She also has multiple other videos on her YouTube site about working with Azure Data Studio and how you can host multiple database projects and all kinds of other stuff. It's really important to understand, not just we've got data and that data exists, but we've got to make changes. We've got to add tables. We've got to add schemas. We've got to add security groups. We might have to do a whole bunch of different things within there. And we need to understand, how do we take those things and how do we deploy them? And it's critical to understand that CI/CD in a very small shop. Maybe you're doing everything by yourself, but when you go and you get a job in a large enterprise, CI/CD is going to be a part of it. Having knowledge of these concepts helps make us better. So that way we can just continue to be able to work through those types of environments, and it gives us some exposure.
I mean, honestly, content do you think I was stealing this week during the hackathon? Not stealing, but using. I was using Elizabeth's videos and things like that to help me get up and running. Because honestly, I'm a manager. I don't know what I'm doing. Really? Come on.
Utilizing it.
Say it loud.
As I go.
I'm a manager. I don't know what I'm doing. I love it. I'm going to get you that emblazoned on a cup now.
Well, you all of you pick on me about that. Well, you're a manager now. So, I'm just throwing it out there and owning it, but showing you you're wrong. I do know what I'm doing.
That's right. Take note, managers. You don't know what you're doing. All right. Andreas, you're up next, my friend.
Ooh, okay. I have this gentleman called, his name is Sander van de Velde, and I've never met this individual, but everything he puts out there, it's solid gold. Like there hasn't been an article that
you have a wrong link. Yeah, you have a wrong
link.
Yeah,
do I have the? No, I think this is the one. This is the predicting stock prices that I.
Where are we?
We are on number 9.
That's right. Back to Mir. Oh, I switched. Mir, and we'll leave Sander van de Velde to the last because he
absolutely. It's live theater, folks. We're building the plane as we're flying it.
But Mir Alam, our colleague, put out a great article not too long, like 2 days ago, on using AutoML to set up stock predictions. And he walks you through how you can start to leverage AutoML's power. It grabs the data for you. It starts to analyze and picks out the best algorithm for you. So you can get the best model that gives you the best precision. And he'll walk you through all that process. And it's, the way he does it with step by step, you'll understand why AutoML is one of those first stepping stones that you should incorporate when you start to actually deploy an ML model. You don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're going to do. Start with AutoML with an ML Studio. It'll point you in the right direction.
I was going to say, I love it. We've got multiple shouts out to Mir this week, and this is some really great content. As a matter of fact, what I always love, I love when we're doing this show and you guys bring videos and you read articles that I have not yet looked at or read, and I go, oh, I can't wait till after the show when I get a chance to actually go through these links and I get to do this. And this is one of those great things. Very, very nice work by our colleague Mir. Let's see. Up next, Neeraj, I don't know why I don't think your link copied over correctly. Let me see if I can find it. But let me go to Dan, and I'm going to go to Dan, and Neeraj, I'll come back to you.
No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, and hey, I want to do a quick shout out on the previous. I didn't say Daniel Mauer's name, so I want to give him proper credit. And I apologize for not saying his name earlier. But this is a former MVP, and I say former because he now works for us as a PM within our managed instance group. But this specifically talks about Arc for data services, and it is a solid 9-point article on getting started with Arc Data Services and the different components that you would need to know as a DBA, from deploying it, setting it up, configuring it, and monitoring it. And I want to give Nico props here, because this is a well-written article, and it's one that I learned Arc Data Services from, and I still go back to from time to time to build on when I'm using the services out there within our environments.
I was going to say, Nico is one of my just absolutely favorite people to work with. And I love being able to engage with him. He's a fantastic person. I've known him for years as an MVP, but his content was always rock solid. And I remember he used to have, I want to say, a clustered column store index series on his blog. And it was like 100 and something items long. You never got to know, I mean, anything as deep as you could if you read all of his cluster columns. You went through the demos. I mean, just the concepts. Nico is just one brilliant human being.
And
Neeraj,
all that's still there.
Yes, and every single bit of it still up. Absolutely. I think I found the link that you're looking for, Neeraj.
It's a video. So I was just, wanted to shout out to Dustin Venoy. He has created a lot of videos. One of them is data ingestion with Synapse Analytics, real-time scenarios and solutions, which I definitely would like you to look at it. Dustin is a data engineer and analytical consultant. I think it's in Florida. He has a lot of videos regarding to monitoring Synapse, Spark, and log analytics and all of them. So something that he has a lot of videos that you can look at it and go for it. So
excellent. That is fantastic. I love it. Let's see. Next up, I've got Josh again.
So this one right here, normally, and I think we're only in week 2, but I think our viewers have gotten a good idea of, I'm kind of really excited about some of the outside the normal type of scenarios like hybrid and things like that. So with this one, I just brought in an article from Alan Hurt. This was from the recent T-SQL Tuesday, where they talked about features coming to SQL Server 2022 that interest them. Alan does this great article here on contained SQL Server agent jobs, which is a new feature in 2022. While this is, is one of Alan's, great articles as always, it's not really necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I wanted to bring Alan to the community here. If, for those who aren't aware of Alan is one of the, premier resources when it comes to, high availability, in mission critical workloads and things like that around SQL Server. And so I just really wanted to put him out in front of the group. More than anything else.
Yeah, I've known Alan for years. Alan is just such a wonderful man. It's funny. I remember back in the day before I was presenting my first PASS summit, I actually went to Alan's pre-con and I was in the audience for that at the PASS summit. I want to say 2011. I think that was when I had my first presentation at the PASS summit as well. I was going to say, I am old. That is okay with me. So, Andreas, I've got you up next.
Okay, cool. Now, let's talk a little bit about this gentleman, Sander van der Velde. If you're youngin' out there and you're trying to get into IoT, follow this individual. Everything he puts out there is solid gold. He talks about IoT Hub, all the Azure IoT services, and one of my favorite undervalued workhorses, Azure Data Explorer. How to do streaming with Azure Data Explorer, how to do table policies with ADX, how to properly set up your ADX clusters. He talks about ADX so much, and if there's a guy you want to listen to for ADX, this is the individual. Follow him on LinkedIn. He, in his WordPress that Brad just put out there, he's constantly posting. Every month, he's got a new article either on IoT, MQTT messaging, Azure IoT Hub, and one of my favorites, obviously, ADX. So we can close it off with that.
Excellent. So I've got one more for Neeraj.
Sure. So this is from Dimitri Gurgo. Dimitri is which helps in data integration, data preparation, ETL, and he's showing up how to ingest data to Power BI. I mean, one of the topics that I was talking about streaming in Power BI this time. This is how it's showing it up, how to do it up. So something that I wanted to shout it out to Dimitri, how he's doing the whole streaming data in Power BI.
Excellent. So some quick reminders real quick. Next Tuesday, we've got our live show. We'll be playing. Josh is the host. He's going to figure out the topic, and then we will get there. We have not one, but two special guests next time. Remerit will be here, as well as Hope Foley. Don't forget to sign up for Microsoft Ignite. It is free. It will be coming to you in mid-October. You don't want to miss that. We're going to have a lot of great product announcements, so many good things. Live 360 is in November. Go to Live 360 live events, or go to aka.ms Live 360 to be able to see the pre-con that Josh Ludeman, myself, and Buck Woody will be putting on. And then anything else that I have forgot, gentlemen?
Bring your Zoolander face next time. You know, we start off with Zoolander. Excellent. There you go.
Thank you so much to everyone who is watching out there
Dan,
in the real world. We thank
Thanks,
you.
Dan.
Have a great weekend, guys. I will see you on Tuesday.
Thanks. Love you all. Be healthy. Be safe.